Table Talk is not your typical D&D TTRPG podcast. We are not here to run you through our whole campaign.
We're here to talk about everything else in the space of tabletop roleplay.
I'm your host, Alejandra Wilhelm.
And I'm also your host, Mariah Gresham.
And we're your tabletop roleplay girlies. Alrighty, and we are live back at it with another episode of Table Talk. We have another wonderful, beautiful guest episode for you today. We thankfully had someone donate to the charity part of our. You're on our rival team for the charity drive, aren't you?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan. Whenever Ryan told me, he was like, "It was one of my own team," and I was like,
"Betrayal."
Listen, I didn't know I was on a team until I donated, and then I joined a team. So I really screwed ourselves when we did that, but it's fine.
They do spring it on. They do be springing it on you sometimes. They're like, "Oh man, you're just given this shirt." And you're like, "This is your team now. You die with them." It's like, okay, cool, great, yes. No problem. Take this laser on it, go.
In case you're new to it, we have been part of a charity drive for the month of January to raise money for Doctors Without Borders. And Aaron is part of that charity drive. And we've been split up into two teams. You want to give us a little bit about yourself, what you do, as well as where people can find you?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Mann. I do a lot of nonprofit work for a theater in Chicago that I'm literally today just like no longer a part of. It's been like 8 or 9 years, and I'm going to be branching out. But as soon as I found out that Run DMG was doing some nonprofit stuff, had to jump in as soon as I heard about it. But I'm based in Chicago, Illinois. I do a lot of theater, a lot of voiceover stuff. And my day job is a sound engineer for a podcast network. And I'm just out here living life. And obviously I'm a huge, massive Dungeons and Dragons nerd that helps produce and edit the That Big D&D Energy podcast as the DM. So yeah, that's about me. And I'm also on TikTok, that Big D&D Energy that goes to our link tree and all that good stuff. Which,
Jesus Christ, your content is fucking hysterical. As soon as I saw you, I don't know how I had found you before, but when the donation thing came in, I was like, let me go check them out. And I about binged your profile.
Yeah, it's like, how is this not crossed either Ollie or mine? Because basically our For You
page has been slacking, apparently.
Yeah, and it's like, how did we?
It's so surprising. Like when I did join this like charity run, how many creators that like I just didn't know about.
Yeah.
Post incredibly similar content, and obviously that has to do with the algorithm. But like it just is wild that we've never crossed paths as a group like this. It just baffles me.
Insane to me. I think your video for the drive specifically doing like offering the Shorzy Strahd roasts about
that was good. That was very strong. I was like,
I do a couple of the personalized ones like across TikTok, or someone will roast someone else on TikTok, and I'll do those publicly. But let me tell you something. The ones that I send out individually, oh my God, sometimes I feel bad when I'm sending them, because I'm just like, oh man, I really went in on this one, and I feel like, oh fuck, I hope they don't.
You're like, anything. This might be a hate crime. I don't even know.
Like, I want to go, and that's it.
But man,
like, there's roasting as a love language, and then there's just blatant bullying.
Yeah. And it's like, 100%. Where's that line? Who knows? Who's to say?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any negative reviews yet, so we'll see what happens. Keep that up.
Incredible. But yeah, we wanted to just kind of, honestly, we're seeing where the spirit takes us tonight. But tell me a little bit about your game specifically, the That Big D&D Energy. Like,
sure. So it kind of started off as just like a joke. Like my partner and I were together, and like we had been playing D&D with a friend group for a while, and like we obviously started more toward the beginning of the pandemic, where a lot of people were starting podcasts, and we wanted to communicate with our friends a bit more than we already were, and communicate with those that we haven't spoken to in a long time, just to check in, see how they're doing. And I don't really know how it came up, but like she used to use the phrase, "Man, that has big dick energy," or whatever.
Yeah.
And like just all the time, like she was going through that phase of using that phrase. And I was trying to come up with a title for the podcast, and she said that phrase again. And I was like, I have to make this happen. Like, this has to be the title. And I started working on a logo, and I was like, well, you got to start with an eggplant. That has to be the beginning.
You got to.
Obviously. Add some magical dragon wings, a wizard hat, some stars, and you've got yourself a magical flying eggplant logo and That Big D&D Energy, which is now kind of like morphed into like a satirical bunch of bros like running around doing the most ridiculous, dumb stuff, but also has its like serious role play moments, and it's with a bunch of professional actors. So like it's been a wild ride. It's just been such a blessing to learn a new skill, get a job out of it, and then just like keep recording with these people month to month. But yeah, that's That Big D&D Energy in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool to, especially like meeting new creators and learning about like their actual plays and starting to check out like, especially right now because we've been considering starting our own. So I'm very much like looking a little bit at what everybody else is doing and trying to figure out, okay, like what's the space that we're going to fill? What's the thing that we're going to do different?
Yeah.
And then just as any good DM does, just steal the good bits from everybody else and mesh 100%. It into your own little creation. But yeah, I love that you have like a group of actors and that you seem like you have like a very specific dynamic at your table. Kind of similar to us, to be honest, because like we have it's kind of us but inverted. Like we have a lot of serious RP moments, but it gets broken in there with the like funny nonsense bullshit nonsense that you have on at the table. And then we're very much more like RP heavy, and then with occasional moments of combat. But most of the time these girls will talk their fucking way out of combat anyway. So I don't ever have to worry too hard.
We
definitely the opposite problem.
One of us is a math girly, but she's not running the game. So it's like everyone else is like, cool, we're gonna commit to the bit of not making Ollie do a ton of math.
Oh no, I'm too pretty and too bisexual to do that math. So like I'm running
a t-shirt or a tattoo somewhere, but it needs to be.
I think that's on like our list of merch to make.
It's on our list of merch.
Absolutely.
That'll sell 100% of the inventory.
Because it's very true. That was one of the biggest like hangups I had about starting to DM, because like we always played in games that were pretty even keel. Like it was even keel between combat and RP. And for me, it was so intimidating from a player perspective, the idea of having to do all that mental like math. And our old DM was an accountant. So he just like,
so he was fine.
That shit off the dome. And I was like, couldn't be me. I feel like I'm gonna hold everybody up while I'm trying to do simple math.
While I pull out, I dust off my T89 calculator from like 9th grade, and I'm like,
find the cosine of this damn.
Give me a second. She has batteries. She's still working.
Did you do the math right? No, but I spelled a very specific word. If you turn this upside down here, thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is where my talents are. Thank you.
Talents are.
Yeah, no. But honestly, now that I've gotten behind like the screen, it's not that terrible. And then I do be out here with like my whole ass computer behind the screen. So I'm like, no. The internet is at my fingertips. No one will ever catch me slipping.
You're not having a time to table your way through that. Like, it's fine.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, it's fucking rough out here.
It is. For those of you who listen to actual plays and these kind of podcasts, the setup just like to make it happen, no matter what your situation is, just to like cobble it all together is always a challenge. No matter if you're like, you have high-end equipment or low-end equipment, doesn't matter. It's always a task.
You're doing it online or in person, whatever. Like it takes so much. And once you're actually starting to try to do it and you're like, okay, let me start researching, and you're like, fuck.
You don't know what you don't know until you start looking into it. It's very similar to like our experience with the podcast. Like when we first started kind of doing it on a whim, and then as we started trying to make it better, it's like, oh cool, there's like 85 million things that we didn't consider that we now need to consider and start doing and take into account for. And it's all like cool stuff. It's good skills to learn and stuff. But it is that you reach that point where it's a very shallow pool, and then just this chasm yawns open, and it's like, cool, that's the actual space.
You stare off into the abyss.
Yeah. And like that's what a lot that's like a lot of what we've been talking back and forth on with like planning for the actual play and stuff, especially because we want ours to be in person, like with our main group, because
that's rough.
Yeah, we play much better. Well, with our core group, like we really could only do it in person, and we all play much better in person.
Sure.
But like production wise, there's a whole lot more to consider with that. And so like the project for the back half of this year is like the narrative audio podcast that I can write and we can like script and have.
It'll be much easier to produce.
Yeah, that'll be like our next baby step, like up toward the Big Daddy
spend like as we spend the next like year and a half to 2 years of basically like accumulating equipment. Mariah's gonna get a house. We're just gonna figure shit out as it goes.
Move to Houston, and so is our other friend that's currently living out here, because I know I can't afford to buy a house in Austin. I don't live in Austin now. Technically, I live in Cedar Park. I just say I live in Austin for the same reason that like we say Ollie lives in Houston when she lives in the Woodlands. It's like it's close enough.
It's a clean 40 minutes away from Houston, but nobody needs to start road mapping to figure out where that is.
Well, once you start, actually getting the place, you can just do what all the other actual play live D&D creators do and just stick a huge 2x4 on your ceiling and hang a bunch of microphones like it's some sort of weird spider creature and go from there. Yeah, everyone wants to do that.
Am arachnophobic.
Oh, cool.
So
no spider microphone setup.
It'll just be me. Do you remember? This might be you're either going to get this immediately or I'm making a very obscure reference that no one's going to get.
I'm so excited.
Did either of you either have like when you were little, the like grabby claw toys that were like, I had some that were like dinosaur mouths?
Of course.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, great. You never know.
Cultured woman.
I've been to Cracker Barrel.
Okay. You never know. Sometimes you say shit like that and people look at you like you've left the mortal coil. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go to my corner now. But it'll be me in a house with those just like tapping the light on to not see.
Yeah, no. I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know that plywood on the ceiling is going to be the move. I'm not going to lie. We're very aesthetic as bitches.
Can't do. Yeah, I would not be able to live with that.
Wireless Rode microphones. It is. We love it. We love to see it.
Or like floor wires. You can put a nice rug down. Like, yeah.
A nice rug to cover just the massive cables that are webbing through the house.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like picturing you scrolling TikTok and seeing those creators that do those live sessions where you see it from the ceiling and you're just like,
hey, listen,
scroll. Nah, scroll.
I feel like now
more power to that.
Like my phone is listening to me and it's like, oh great, I shall now show her the audio ceiling spider.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll let you know if I see them. I mean, like, it is a good, I get why someone would do that. It is to just like rig it from the ceiling. It would be really cute if you like had, no house is like this, but like the like industrial, like exposed brick apartments that have like, and there's like iron railings on the roof. Like that would be a sick setup for something like that if your house was like that, because then you could just loop them.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so what you're saying is you're going to build the house then instead of buy a house. I dig it.
No, I can't do that. It's a good concept. Not right now. Maybe later in my life, but no, not right now.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of effort. No.
In this economy? Come on.
In this economy? No, thank you. Man, no. I do want to know. So talk to me a little bit about like how, like your specific tabletop journey, like how'd you get into the hobby and how has it become like what it is now?
Yeah. So other than being a D&D nerd, I'm a huge theater nerd as well.
Okay.
Going through college, getting my BFA in theater studies and all that good stuff. And then moving out to Chicago, not immediately, but pretty close to immediately after graduation to, make my way in the biz and all that good stuff. I needed an outlet to, do something that was not me sitting at home playing video games on my computer, but rather like expressing my acting chops in some sort of character or some sort of like world like creation way. And like I didn't even know D&D existed, to be honest, until I got out of college, which, to be honest, thank God that I didn't, because that's all I would have done.
It would have derailed you. You would not have made it, probably.
I would not have graduated, and I will be honest with myself about that.
Very different life. But once I did finally figure that out, it gave me the chance to, be open with these characters that I could create, be open with these worlds that I could create, or like just derive from if it was already pre-generated and all that good stuff. So that's just kind of how it started. And it started with friends, and it merged into something that we all talked about as a group prior to the pandemic and created it out of thin air, just like a lot of people. But man, it changes. Like, I know this sounds corny for a tabletop role-playing game, but like, it really does like change your life a little bit depending on how much you invest into it and throw into it. So yeah, that's kind of been my tabletop journey of theater merging into this thing that I love to do.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation of so many different hobbies, like theater and improv and writing and acting and like art and like art direction and stage management, and there's like an audio element if you're recording it, and it's so many things at once that it's just there is something for almost everyone. And math, if you're a math, there can be so much math if you're a math person.
If you want to get crunchy with it, there's lots of math to be fucking done.
Crunch.
Or like none, if you just don't feel like doing it, have other people do it for you at the table. It's fine.
Yeah. It is an interesting hobby because it's like, like you said, it can be adapted to just about anybody. And there's a little bit of something for anybody that has even like a remote creative interest in anything, really, because it can really like stimulate that part of your brain. If you're, and even if you're not super creative or you're more into like the strategy and the, like you said, the crunchiness, the math, you can definitely find and play that version of that game. But the way that it's so customizable to everybody, you can go on the other end of the spectrum and you're like, if I don't want to touch a single, like if I don't want to do any numbers, we can do that for between 3 to 8 hours. We can just play
and
out
no
a story.
Spiders, 100%, none of that.
And no spiders, not a single spider was had. There's definitely not a spider merchant mini staring me in the face.
Okay, but that spider merchant mini. Okay, our friend Bex is very arachnophobic. My thing with spiders, I don't want to touch them. I don't want them to touch me.
Yeah.
But I love that they eat like gnats and smaller annoying bugs. Have a ton of respect for their role in the ecosystem.
Seen,
just
not
please
heard.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like you can live in my apartment if you're above 6 feet, 6 feet. Like I probably have like 9-ish foot
not
ceilings.
Seen, I guess.
Yeah. Like I'm like 5'6". So above 6 feet is for you. Below that's for me. Please don't be on my kitchen counter. That's all I ask. We can go habitate so well. But if you hop on me like mid stride, that's not chill. That's not for you.
Oh, that's not the territory.
No,
absolutely not. I'm
literally vehicle for you to crawl all over.
I almost put my Honda Civic in a ditch in high school because I was driving to, this is a very me-centric story. I'm from a very small town. Like the house I grew up in was just like down the street from the high school. And I was driving back to the band hall because I was a band kid. Color Garden, French horn, obviously.
French horn? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Hell yeah. But I was driving back to like for something, it was like a game or we were leaving to go on a trip or something. And as I was driving, there was a small motion on my dashboard. And I was like, what was that? Kind of looked at my eyes and I saw it. I saw the little leggies. And I was like, no, it's not. I was going to live in blissful ignorance. And then it moved again. And I'm like, please don't, friend. And then it turned around and I could see its little spider face. And I'm like, you're going to do it, aren't you? Please don't do it. Please don't do it. And then it just jumped. Like it was on the dashboard. It bunched its little legs. It left the dashboard and my car left the road.
Yeah.
I don't know where the spider ended up, but I very narrowly, thankfully I went to the side of the road that wasn't like a 6-foot ditch. And I went to one that was like a 3 foot and like a Honda Civic, which is 6 inches off the ground. And I swerved it in enough time before it was fully stuck.
And then you got the gasoline out of the trunk and you burned it it had to be done.
Like the insurance.
I'll live in blissful ignorance. If I don't see that spider's gone. That's not my business anymore.
Once it's left her periphery, that's that NPC like must have been nothing, and then continues
that's the white woman in me. I will live in blissful ignorance. And like I said that and I'm like, ooh, that's deep and darker than I meant it. I was just talking about spiders and that has other implications to which it doesn't apply. But oh yeah, fully. There was a spider descended from a ceiling like in my apartment in college. And I matrixed under the spider. I was on the couch as the most athletic thing I'd done in the last 6 months.
It's the move.
Grabbed my keys, my phone, and my wallet, left, went to a friend's house for like a few hours, came back. There was no longer a spider dangling over my couch. I pretended like that never happened, and I went to bed.
Excellent decisions.
And I finished the semester, and I graduated. And
they're arachnophobic. They just be like, "Cool, I guess I'm just breaking my lease and never coming back." Like,
I'm not that committed to the bit.
One of the best purchases I've ever made is an electric racket. I don't know if you know anything about those, but
my mom used to have one of those.
Highly recommend, because I will literally be home alone, see a spider, and yell out to myself, "We had a deal!" And just like go through that in my head of like, you stay on your side and I stay on my side.
Yeah.
And you're clearly violating that contract right now, Jerry.
Yeah, it's like I laid out a contract. You walked through the ink pad with your little spider feet and walked, and that was your signature. And then I signed it, and like we had an agreement. I fully woken my father up at like 2 a.m. when I was still living in my parents' house because, in my defense, it was a daddy long leg, and he was about the size of like, you know, like those gold dollars. I'm just really pulling the weird references out of the book today. That like with legs, you know, they're a little. And I'm like, that's too much spider, so I had to go.
Far too much. I don't care if they can't hurt people. I don't care. Look at him. I don't care. He's hurting my brain right now just by seeing him.
Yeah, I didn't want him to die. I just didn't want him to be on my ceiling. Just be outside.
Unbelievable.
We have a salt shotgun in my house.
Those are sick, and I've never gotten
those.
One.
Are also,
they're 100% worth it. For me, the most part, I'm like, bugs don't really bother me. I am the certified spider killer whenever it does come to happen, like at Mariah's or anybody else of my
spiders
friends.
Crawl in Ollie's room to die in the AC.
Yeah, they do. They fully cohabitate with spiders, and like
every once in a while they'll just be
crawling through my window all the time.
Listen, it's really hot in Texas. I understand them wanting to die in the AC. I can't.
It's like their last thing that they want.
Yeah.
True. Sure. There's just a bush right outside of my window. So they like chill there and they're like, ooh, it's nicer in here. And then they just happen to die on the windowsill.
Get a little cool air on your carapace before you leave the mortal coil. That's fine.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. My issue is bitches that fly, specifically because I'm a curly-haired woman.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And they will get caught and they will never see the light of day.
Unnecessary.
I hate myself.
And then they're still there. And now it's a you problem.
No, I've had times like June bugs.
June bugs are bad.
They're little
sticky legs. Why are their legs so short? Why are they that? Why are they like that?
Fly in past my neck.
No.
And get stuck in the back of my head.
No.
And I looked. I remember I was outside. I looked at my father and I was like, I'm gonna decapitate myself in front of you. Forward, right here. I'm gonna Mulan myself. Just right here. Just cut all of it off. I don't give a fuck.
Suddenly I have an undercut.
Yeah, suddenly it's a bob.
I need to sneeze.
It's a no. That's a no for me, Chief.
Yeah. Ergo, at our games, since I'm the DM, no spiders can be had.
No bugs.
Yeah, that's how we got off on this very weird tangent. Because I was like, how the fuck did we get off on this? Like, because I took us here and I don't remember which path to hell I went down.
Said you're with me now.
As if we're going, but it had a point, as it always does before I wildly derail something. Like when we were at PAX, like we were at like a mini stand, and Ollie was picking out minis, and there was a really cute like Spider Merchant mini, and he like has Howl's Moving Castle, which is like my comfort Ghibli film. If the house was like a spider that carried his goods on his back in a cute way.
Okay.
Like he has a lot of legs, but they're for weight distributions for all his goods that he purveys. He's fine.
Okay.
He's a good lad.
Less legs because I dropped him.
Right. Yeah. There was a tragedy. He's fine.
Okay.
He's doing fine.
We'll allow it.
But no goods were harmed. But yeah, he is down one leg.
No, he's down. He's down like 2 or 3, honestly. He's
then yeah, he's barely a spider anymore.
Last legs.
He's basically a dog then. That's a dog now.
We're gonna fine then. That's perfect.
That's a crunchy dog now.
That's a domestic pet.
Yeah, that's a friend. Name him Spot.
God.
Anyway, moving on to non-arachnid-centered
Do you
topics.
have any irrational fears you have to stay away from?
Oh God, irrational fears? I don't know if this one's necessarily like irrational, but like heights for me. I like, and it's not even the fact that like I'm afraid anymore. Like when I was a kid, 100% did not high places me. No, absolutely not. But like now my body has evolved into going from fear to just straight up passing out sometimes.
That's not
And
good.
like, isn't it? Yeah, it's not great at all.
There are times
So,
where
like,
that's unsafe.
yes.
For
And
instance,
like,
just be like, what if we turned it off and turned it on again?
that's literally what happens. Because like when I would be like loading in a set or something like that, and like people would be like, oh, well, I need your help hanging this light or whatever on top of this ladder. I'd be like, here's the thing.
Well, we're not
I
gonna do
want to help you. And this is not me pretending to be lazy, but like I can't get up there. And if I get up there right now, we're not going to finish any of the work today.
Yeah.
Like, I
gonna
can get
have
up
to
to
go
a
to the
certain
ER.
height, but I will straight up pass out. Like I feel like it's the same. It's akin to like people who see blood and pass out. It's like the
Mhm.
same, but heights, I guess. So I don't
Your
know if it's like
body's
an
like, let's
irrational.
not experience this. And so it goes unconscious,
Yeah.
but then you're also up high and the muscles also go unconscious. And there are consequences for that because we live with gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Your body doesn't think that far.
My body's probably like, and by the time you wake up, you'll be on the ground. It's fine.
You'll be on the ground, and
Yeah.
we've solved the problem.
Safe and sound.
actually.
Just one part of your brain is operating with like communication from nothing else.
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh my God.
I
That
weirdly
and
love heights.
these-
I just like don't trust my joints. So I'm not wild
That's
about
fair.
falling.
Yeah.
Because like my ankles just be rolling when a wind blows.
Yep. Now I'm just thinking about it. I'm just getting a little,
What
blacked
did you-
out
okay.
right now.
Okay, well, what did you else did you say? Bees?
Oh yeah, that and well, not like the big bumbles. The big bumbles are fine.
Big
I like
bumbles.
Big
them.
fuzzy bumbles.
I love
the
a big bumble.
fuzzles. But like hornets. I'll
Okay,
kill a
hornets.
hornet. I
Hornets
will-
aren't bees. Hornets are hornets. Don't
Hornets.
degrade my sweet stripy friends.
Wasps.
Oh, maybe.
Hornets and wasps.
Those are violent.
What does a hornet look like? What does that one look like?
They're the sharp.
They're
ones.
like the yellow jackets.
The sharper
right?
ones.
Yeah, they're not. They look
Okay.
like a wasp. They look like a wasp.
Okay.
Are hornets and wasps the same thing?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Are they?
I don't know.
I'm about to Google this shit.
I don't know. No one's gonna correct us, and that's fine. I know they're not bees, but the bees that drill holes in
Hornet
wood
wasps.
are a little spicy.
Oh, they are not the same thing.
No.
According to Google, I didn't even type the whole fucking thing. It was just like, you idiot. Here you
They
go.
said nah.
Enough people have asked the question.
Yeah. So definitely wasps then. I will change that answer. Wasps.
Yeah, I hate
and
those.
heights.
I hate. They're not great.
Ugh,
The spiders can have them.
100%. They're tasty.
I
Delicious.
have an irrational fear of birds. Large
Mhm.
gatherings of birds. Specific. I can fuck with a bird individually.
I was about to say, like, what about like pet birds? Like,
Yeah, I can fuck with a
Okay.
pet bird.
cool.
After
It's
like
when
8
they are
birds.
large groups. Yeah, it's strictly
crows and
dependent
shit?
upon how many birds do I think I can take in a fight, realistically.
Yeah.
And once it's too many birds, that's when I start panicking.
Okay. Well, then you have to think about like the middle ground too of like, what about penguins?
It's different for different kinds of birds too. Like if they're little birds, I'm like, I can take more of those. But if they're like a crow or a raven, then we're looking
Mhm.
at a solid 5 to 6. You know,
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from. 100%.
it comes from I had a reoccurring nightmare where it was like very Groundhog's Day. I remember all of my dreams. I also lucid dream, to preface.
Neat.
So like when I'm in the dream, I can remember all the dreams I've ever had. So normally the lucid dreaming kicks in where I'm like, oh, I remember this one. And then I'm just like, I got the wheel. And this was one where like the dream would start like a normal day, whatever. And like in the periphery, like barely noticeable, a bird would like eat a bug. And like later in the dream, they'd eat like, I don't know, a mouse or something. And then it would start building up to bigger and bigger prey until they
That are
start
not
attacking
birds.
people.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like
So the first few times I had this dream, if you don't notice the first few like small
Yeah.
signs, you just get fucking mollywopped by gangs.
You
of
come
birds.
to when birds are taking down a German Shepherd, and you're like, "What the fuck's
and
going
you're like,
on?"
oh, we have like 5 minutes to figure out what the fuck we're gonna do. So then eventually, after dying a couple times, I'm like, okay, I need to figure out, once I notice the first bird eat a bug, I'm like, okay, I have maybe like half an hour or something to figure out what the fuck.
Before they get bold.
To find a way to convince my dream family and friends that I'm not crazy.
Right. Right.
I know how hard they are to convince those.
Yeah.
So because we're not believing.
And get them inside.
Yeah, we're not believing the bird conspiracy.
And eventually it got to the point where we survived. But now, because I've had that dream so many times, it's caused like an immediate reaction of fear when I'm like driving, and at sunset they fucking gather on the power lines and shit, or when you see them flying in formation,
they're just waiting.
Yeah.
Look at them, they're just
like the anxiety kicks in me, and I'm like, I know I'm safe, I know I'm in my car. But there's been times when like a flock of birds has flown, like swooped over my car, and I've screamed like a mad woman there because that's too much for me. And the worst is like, okay, so me and Mariah will be like playing Baldur's Gate and stuff, and
oh god,
it'll be funny because obviously Baldur's Gate has much spider content.
It does
too much. Some would say.
I didn't go back down on that well until I was like level 9. And I killed the big spider in one round before she even went. I went down there once, like, because I left. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I can't. I'm going to crawl out of my skin.
Yeah. And so I was like, I made the comment once or twice where I was like, it's crazy that like, it's still like, it affects you even when it's a video game, but there's a degree of separation there. And then I get to the Shadowfell. I'm doing my shit. I'm just bopping around, fighting shadows and whatever. Yeah. Making my way downtown. And then I see that little like bird carcass that's on the floor that's glowing all weird. And I'm a loot goblin. So of course I'm like, I want the feather that's probably on this carcass.
But in your defense, it's not a weird amount of bird carcasses.
It's a single bird.
It's like a single bird
carcass.
Yeah.
And I interact with it, and suddenly there's like 20 of them fuckers surrounding my character to the degree where I can no longer see her. And I remember being on a call with my friend, and I felt like throwing up.
Yeah.
I was panicking.
I'm not afraid of
birds. Firewall over me and my fucking party.
We're all dying.
Like, why?
I'm nuking all of it.
Because you didn't have a cleric with you, did you?
No.
See, when it happened to me,
it's good for fucking nothing.
I had Shadowheart just turned undead. So it's like I had Shadowheart, so it scared the fuck out of me.
In a state where
that's fair.
Logic was not it.
That's fair. It's visceral.
On my road, I cast a scroll of firewall and I nuked everybody.
Like everybody's getting down.
I was like, I need these bitches gone.
Good luck, everybody else.
Thankfully, all the birds have like 1 HP.
Y'all better be lucky I didn't have a fireball. I would have burned that shit in a second.
And myself.
Then myself.
You're like sitting at a table with your players, starting a new. Oh yeah, I just made this homebrew, and it's like 3 pages long, and it's like they're reading it. Man, it's really like bird centric. Are you sure you're just like, I need this. I can conquer my fear.
Yeah, this is how I'm processing my trauma at the table, and I will not be judged.
I think I've
seen from Baldur's Gate. Is that all this is?
Yeah,
it's
honestly, just that one scene.
That one little, don't loot that corpse. Word to the wise. You don't get anything from it either, which is rude.
I've been fine in the other combats though, where they're like the crows will pop up like a mob or whatever. It's just that one specific.
It's because they wrap around you,
engulfed her
in a torrent.
I was like, I don't like this.
It's just like a bird NATO. It's like, for what reason? Why?
Is them sitting at a table,
work on this choreography,
writing that specific portion. Like, what if we just a fuckload of birds, just like the most birds that can fit on a screen.
Yeah. Every bird that's in fucking.
And they're just like, what
I almost said Midgard, and I'm like, that's God of War.
We're gonna win Game of the Year anyway. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Just put it in. Just listen to him.
Literally.
Just throw more birds at it. I'm sure it'll not have any repercussions towards any person's psyche ever.
But like for me, my option is like when you're going through the Whispering Well or whatever it is, and like the spider webs cross over in front of the screen. I'm like, no, I heard it. I heard it. Because my fear of spiders is from like going down. I had like a a playhouse like in our backyard when I was a kid, and there was a little slide on it, and I was like overly enthusiastic about slides as a child, so I just book it straight for those bad boys with like no situational awareness. And there, you know where this is going.
Yeah.
And I had repressed this memory, and then like years later, one day I was just thinking about, why am I afraid of spiders? And it came back to me. And I was going down the slide, and I went through the little arch, and there was a spider right in the middle of it. And the spider hit me right between the eyes, and the web went all over my face. And I screamed like someone was hacking my body apart with a knife. Yeah. And my dad was out in the backyard with me, and my mom heard me inside the house on the other side of the house and came out like, what in God's name is happening?
Why do they pick there? Why do they pick that spot? There's so many other better spots.
There's so many big trees. We have so many trees.
The mentality of a spider when you're looking at like, you know, the possible real estate to build your condo.
You build your net for bug. You build your net for bug. You think bug go slide? No. Bug go bush. Bug go tree. Bug go literally fucking anywhere else.
Now, like if you're walking through like a forest and you go in between trees and you go through like a banana spider is what we called them fucking down south, but like an orb weaver. If you go through
visceral hate.
In their defense, they are beautiful.
They're beautiful and harmless, but look at them. It's another one of those.
They can trap a bird in those things.
I know.
For what reason? A guy I went to college with told me the most horrifying spider story I've ever heard. And like he was out in the forest in the middle of the night, and there was like this weird circle of trees in the forest, which like the white man in him that he entered the circle of trees in the forest at night. No, you don't.
It's in your DNA. I can't explain it.
What if there's a Fey Prince in there?
Right? It could happen.
I can't relate. Like, no. One, I have no sense of direction.
I get it.
What if there's a werewolf that's going to clap them cheeks?
What if the werewolf's hot? Like, we don't know. These are the answered questions that we need.
I will judge him a little bit, but
this is the skin of a killer, Mariah.
He learned his lesson.
How do you think?
Because he entered through like the one set of trees that did not have an orb weaver web between them, and then like shined a light. And there was a web in every other fucking thing, which again, why you shouldn't enter trees in the forest at night. Because sometimes a little community of spiders is like, let's build a web in between every tree but one, and we'll catch some dumb white man who comes in here and we'll eat him. Because you don't know how long
of orb weaver spiders that are like,
listen.
What are we gonna do with them after?
I played Ocarina of Time.
We'll be eating
the spider house where people are like half spider. Listen, weird shit happens. No.
Yeah, no, I can't. A colony of fucking orb weaver spiders, man. I've only ever seen one in real life, and my mother, avid gardener, loves bugs. Fucking loves them. Just the whole spectrum of bugs, and like. I remember when I was a kid, I was probably like 12, 13. Like, she beckoned me outside to be like, Aaron, come look at this. It's beautiful. And I saw it. And I literally thought that thing was going to come after me. Like, it was so big
like compared
to me.
You're like, I've seen dogs bigger, like smaller than this. I've seen, like, there's chihuahuas that are smaller than this fucking spider.
Nightmares. Absolute nightmare fuel.
You're like, you should live in Australia. How did you get over here, friend?
I don't even want to talk about Australia.
You were on the wrong
I'll talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast, but I won't talk about Australia.
But it's just like, touch it. Orb weavers are one of those animals, and it's like when Pangea split, you were on the wrong part. You should have been on the Australia part.
The other side, absolutely.
With the rest of the weird shit.
Time for Alaska, gang.
I have one real bad one. I don't even know if I've told you this story, Mariah.
Probably not, but you can.
Little known fact, I'm Venezuelan. Like, I was born in South America. I was in Caracas, a city that's basically in the middle of a rainforest. Me and my family went to like this little vacation house up in the mountains. And it's a very, very open concept house. Like, there's no real doorways. It's all arches and stuff. The only doors are like to the bedrooms and stuff.
You need the ventilation.
Yeah, so you get lots of little like lizards and whatever just constantly like in the house. Little forest friends. And I was an ungodly child in that like I woke up at 5 a.m. every single day. So my mom trained me from an early age to be like, don't bother the adults while they're still sleeping. So I would just beep up around the house, and I was like, you know what's real great about being a little kid that wakes up at 5 and there's no adults up? I can have chocolate for breakfast, and ain't nobody gonna say shit. So I would grab a little thing of chocolate.
No, it's just facts.
And I went to go sit on a balcony and like watch the hummingbirds and stuff.
Oh,
just
no.
enjoy my little chocolate breakfast. And to the side, there's like an archway leading to the lobby, and I could see a shadow just making its way down to me. And I turn, and it is like a tarantula from the South American rainforest, which means it's the size of me, basically.
That's too much, boy.
It's time to go.
Much, boy.
And so it's just crawling like down, like through the lobby, and essentially trapping me in my little balcony thing.
It also wants chocolate for breakfast. It's like, hey, are we having Cocoa Puffs?
Chocolate for breakfast. And I remember thinking about like all the shit that I'd seen on Animal Planet and how far they could fucking jump. And
that's your first move. That's your first thought. Fuck.
So you got to be prepared. I respect.
I was like,
you got to know the range you're working with.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay very still and let this thing crawl like enough of a distance. So eventually, once it started making its way down the stairs, I booked it. And ran for my goddamn life and went to my mom's room and woke her up. And I was like, Mom, there's a spider. You need to go kill it. And she's like, she's thinking it's, a little bitty spider.
A normal friend.
She grabs her fucking sandal, comes outside.
The chancla's not going to do that. It's not going to be in.
And she goes back.
Well, the chancla is a mighty weapon.
My dad, the chancla, like any good woman would. But she goes back in, gets my dad's fucking shoe, gets reinforcements because she gets my grandma and my aunt involved. Grandma's got a broomstick. My aunt has like Terminator dual wielding bug spray or some shit. And they go after this damn
Hates fucking village.
So the whole morning is women screaming.
I hate that.
Kill this thing. And
I hate it.
Roll it into the stairs, and they finally kill the thing. And like baby spiders just all over the damn floor.
No. I was fine until that. I was fine until that. That is like my greatest fear. I saw a video of that once,
bro,
on like Tumblr, and it has haunted me forevermore. Of like, if anything looks remotely like a thing that baby spiders might be in, I won't touch it. I'll wait till my dad comes to town and make him do it.
You're gonna need fire. You're gonna need fire.
Yeah,
like that's bottom line. Bare minimum. You're gonna need fire.
I was fine until that. It was like funny
my aunt emptied that goddamn spray all over.
Burn the house down. Start over.
So I saw a TikTok.
Break that stairwell off.
A bunch it was a bunch of like fully grown men like hanging out, screaming their heads off over. I think it might have been a spider, it might have been a cockroach, but regardless, one of them had the spray. And they cut to a second portion of the video where like they had trapped it under a pool net, and like there was just this puddle of the spray. They decided not to step on it. They didn't smash it with anything. They just kept fucking spraying it through this pool net.
Through the net?
Yeah, and it just like formed this massive puddle on their kitchen floor.
Honestly,
poisonous spray.
Honestly, I can't talk shit. I can't say anything
like,
because I can't
waterboard this bitch with arsenic.
Yeah. And if we also get poisoned, then that's how like no one gets off the planet alive.
That's all I think about when I think about that, like that spray or whatever. That's all I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's like, let's all just huff some Raid together, us and the spider.
It's time.
If this is how I die. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so the bottom line of this story was that the worst D&D monsters, anything spider related.
The worst D&D monsters is spiders.
The age-old question.
We've solved it.
Especially, like early games, it's always either rats or spiders. And like, spiders are just
always go
rough.
Rats.
It's just rough.
Just start up with rats, rat men, any variation of rat. Great enemy. Rat king, perfect. Yeah.
There's much depth to the rats that you can have. Not so much with the spiders. They're very flat.
Very monotone. We hate them.
They're visceral. The spiders are
horrible
a little
story
visceral.
writing tactic. Spiders.
For me.
Just ignore the driders. Ignore Lolf. Ignore all of that.
You just skip it.
The driders don't do anything for me. They kind of freak me out because of how they move. But like they don't, I'm neutral on them.
They do it for me, but it's because I read fucked up smut. So,
but you're also not afraid of spiders.
I'm also not afraid of spiders.
Oh, that's how you cured your fear. I just need to read a bunch of smut.
I never had a fear of spiders. But at one point it was very funny because I read a lot of like monster romance books and all that good stuff. And I remember seeing one and it was like the cover art was this like Drider-esque looking thing. And I was really on a kick of like, this was around Ice Planet Barbarians where it was like everyone was going off about it. I'm like, I'm just gonna read it for the haha. And then I blacked out and was like 21 books deep. Didn't know how that happened. So
like you do.
It'd be like that.
As you do. And so I was really just doing whatever and reading anything. And then I picked that one up. And then I was like, why am I so invested in this spider?
Apparently the story is actually good. Like I think it's really good. I think I might have it saved.
Every one of my friends is that like read smut. They're always like, dude, you have to like, it's just so good. Like the plot and the story. And I'm like, okay. All right, everybody calm down. Like, maybe I'll pick one up.
I know that he's a spider centaur, but if you hear me out.
Well, like when Ollie was pitching it to me and I'm like, okay, how like web dominant is it? Because if that's a role, it's not going to be for me. Because the webs are not my thing.
But there do be webs, but it's like Shibari? Question.
And I was like, how viscerally are the webs
what else?
described?
Also, he makes her a pretty dress out of the webs.
So okay, that's kind of nice.
It's cute.
Yeah, I
it's
just
Taylor.
If we can suspend disbelief on what spider web feels like, okay, I can work with that maybe. But if we're gonna viscerally describe the reality of spider silk, no. I'm so sorry, but no.
Dude.
I now have a situation. Ollie, I won't tell if you don't want me to because you told that horrific fucking spider story. I'm tempted to tell my like bird story that you have heard actually.
You can tell your bird story. I can bear through a bird story.
Yeah. Okay. So childhood spring break with my parents. Where I cannot remember where we were. It doesn't matter. It's location agnostic. We're at one of those hotels where like there's the balconies that face a pool, and it's like it's nighttime. There's like it's the middle of the week, so like there's no one at the fucking hotel. There's like one man who's obviously here on a business trip, just trying to enjoy the pool, just down there swimming, living his life.
It's me. I'm the man.
Is this another one of the dream scenarios?
Yeah, just an innocent bystander. Like we would go like a lot of like when we would go to like Galveston and stuff when I was growing up, like we would feed the birds and stuff, which like Ollie, you would never, but like we would growing up. So for some reason, my dad had the genius idea to be like, hey, let's take some crackers out there and feed the birds to me. I think my mom was like in the shower. She was not in the room for when this plan was hatched.
The voice of reason was not present.
Truly no. And so I'm like, obviously, yeah, that'll be so fun. And so we go out there. I'm expecting it to be like a gentle, like nice little experience. So we go out with our peanut butter crackers. And at first there's like one bird that's nicely taking the cracker. It's a fine time. Animal Planet moment. And then there's like 3. And then there's like 8 birds that are starting to just like do a little drive-by, like a cafeteria line sort of thing going to get the crackers. And I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, is this still fine? Like, do you as the adults still have control of this situation? And he seemed to. So I was like, fair, we're fine. And then it escalated quite quickly. And it went to like 15 birds, 20 birds, 35 birds, a literal tornado of birds flying, not quite Baldur's Gate level, but like literally flying in formation in a cylinder over the pool. and sweeping in periodically to grab crackers. I'm crying at this point. I'm scared. It's too many birds.
Like enough to make you wonder, like, are we gonna be okay? Like that feeling.
Like my dad is starting to slowly back away from the banister as the birds are still trying to get the remaining peanut butter crackers that he holds. And he's trying to just gently push me through the sliding door of the hotel while trying to make sure the birds don't get in the room, because if a bird gets in the room, we're dead in the water. My mom will kill us all.
That was just
yeah. And then, like, you just see, I have a very visceral memory of looking down through the slats in the, like, banister of the board to see this man look up and see this biblical punishment we've summoned over this Holiday Inn pool. There's just a cylinder of birds. And he just books it, which good on him. Good for you, sir. That was the only correct choice. And then, like, I'm crying, I'm upset at this point. My mom hears this. It's not a huge hotel room. And so she steps out and she's like, sees through the glass door, my 6-foot-tall father, me slightly to the right behind him, a cylinder of birds, and the corpse of a packet of peanut butter crackers. And it's just like, what in the fuck is going on? She's like, get in the goddamn room. What is wrong with you? We were just gonna feed the birds. She's like, speechless. Because, like, to this day, I don't know how they got there that fast. We're not talking about like a 30-minute
they talk
bird feeding period. They had to be echolocating or like tweet, like literally like getting on tweeting or like something. Yeah, I didn't mean to make that pun. But I'm like, this was in a matter of like 5 to 7 minutes. Maybe.
Far too many. And I love birds. That's far too many.
It was too many. It was too many above a Holiday Inn swimming pool.
I think the only birds that I've ever...
where you're like, yeah, if the birds get mad that I no longer possess peanut butter crackers, they're coming for me.
Oh, that was a real concern that my father had, which was why he was trying to usher us away from the banister. Because we were running low on peanut butter crackers.
You're going to turn around and that poor man that was at the pool will just be bones.
Yep.
Yeah. The currency that was keeping this exchange afloat, which is the peanut butter crackers, were dwindling. And so Dad's like, we got to get some glass between us and this bird cylinder we've created.
Just like the Holiday Inn workers just like come out and they're just like scooping bones.
Literally, like to this day,
God damn it. Oh,
to this day, like decades later, I will still periodically think about that man and what he thought was happening. And 2, just like anyone else in that hotel that chose that moment to look out their patio or like balcony door.
It was probably like 50-50 between.
If I saw that now, I would leave. I would be like, hey, this isn't the hotel that I'm meant to be at. I will go anywhere else.
I will check into literally any other Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Leave like a 1-star review on fucking Google. Birds frequent this establishment, not for me. Not for you either. Promise.
How many birds are currently on location? I do need to know.
None of the wilder things.
Google asking me that.
Yeah.
God.
Oh my God.
My dad and I always got into all sorts of weird, fucked up situations just because he's like, this will be fun and lovely and end well, and then it kind of didn't.
From that one, it just sounds like it just decided to happen to you. Like it was fate. Like these birds are like,
that wasn't crackers. Yeah.
No.
That was partially on us, but also like, why were they all there immediately? Where did they learn to fly in a cylinder?
Yeah, that's
there was something else afoot that was going on. I don't know.
You were the prey at that point, 100%. You had the
it truly felt like that.
They were building up from cracker to baby.
Honestly, maybe.
As they do.
It went, because like it went from a like, oh, this is such a cute, fun like moment of interacting with an animal friend to we have fully lost control of this situation and are not going to be able to get it back.
Nature be too much sometimes.
Nah, I have much respect for many things in nature, and I can understand when I am not in my apex predator zone, which to be honest, none of us really are anymore because we've gotten lazy.
Yeah.
So,
no.
like, God, yeah. Anytime I'm in the ocean, I'm like, mad respect. I will not be going further than like waist deep.
No, that's not for me. The cruise ship that went through the Drake Passage, there's no amount of money you could pay me. None. No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I had to think about what you were talking about for a second. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Anywhere where there are like, I mean, the idea of like a rogue wave. I love the theme of this podcast, just mean random shit that horrifies us. But the reason, because Ollie, like,
you can include in your campaigns.
Honestly,
I'll name it like DM inspiration for if you want to terrify your players.
Unhinged inspiration. Yeah, like we almost went on a cruise like a couple of years ago, and then it didn't. We ended up not going because COVID of it all. But like since then, like Ollie loves cruises, has been begging us all to go on a cruise. Our one from Dex also does not fuck with the ocean at all. If she can't see like anything more than a river is like, she's not even a lake girly. She's like, if I can't see the bottom, it's not for me. Which, like, fair. One of the main reasons that I won't go on a cruise is because of rogue waves. They're a thing that exists. And just like the idea that you could be in the ocean and then staring down an 80-foot wall of water is a no for me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of my
it's a no for
top two worst fears. 100%.
Was I allowed?
Yeah, having me live rent free on like North Sea content. And I'm that shit is terrifying to see, like a giant oil barge that's being dwarfed by a wave and just tossed around like a goddamn rubber ducky.
That's not for you. And it's like the people getting like pulled into the sea. No.
Dude, Finding Nemo did something to me as a child. I don't know what it is. Like, just like that scene where like it's just open water and that fucking predator fish going after Nemo's mom, like coral reef, and then just nothing but open water. That I didn't want to watch that scene ever as a kid. I just fast forwarded it.
That's
I
fair.
still do that. I would do that now.
The first time I ever went scuba diving, we were like in Destin and stuff, and then my family was like, "Oh, we'll let Ale and like my little cousin go scuba diving." So we did like the quick little lesson, and it was like barely scuba diving. It was literally like just going deep enough to like check out this little coral reef.
It wasn't like deep water. No, you have air tanks and shit.
We were just offshore, but we had to make sure, like, obviously don't wear any jewelry because, like, barracudas do be attracted to shiny things and all that. And so we went.
Those fun tips that they tell you just before you jump in.
Cute tips. You don't want to get fucking rocked by a barracuda.
Get raw dogged by a barracuda.
Do not wear your Cartier ring. Put that shit away.
Anyway.
But yeah. We went and stuff, and I remember having, because I've snorkeled plenty.
Yeah.
But I remember having the moment of like, we're getting deeper and deeper, and obviously like you have a respirator, you're able to breathe, but my body was like, my body had a primal reaction of like, hey girl, what the fuck? Like, we're not supposed to be this deep and still able to breathe. So like, I remember having to like logic brain my way out of a panic attack that my body was having. It was like a very mind body separation moment, because I was like, I can't go into a panic attack right now because then I'm going to use all my air. And we're going to be in a not great situation. And eventually I got it under control, but it was like a, hey, we're a little too deep and this doesn't feel natural. Like, this doesn't feel like it should be happening.
Yeah. But it's like the surface is up there where there's air. Yeah. There's not air down
my body
here.
Was like, this shit don't make sense. What's happening? Yeah. And we were down looking at the coral and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, whatever. And then I don't know what possessed me, but I decided to turn around and I saw the expanse of the fucking abyss and the ocean. And I was like, because I think it was literally, I saw a little fish like swim away, and when I like turned to go watch it, I realized like, one, the periphery of being in goggles and like you do not have,
you're like a racehorse. You just have blinders on.
Yeah. And then seeing that little fish go, and then just seeing at what point did I stop seeing the fish? And it was far closer than I liked for me to not be able to see the fish anymore. And being like, cool, anything could be just like 10 feet away from me. And I have no idea, nor can I hear it, nor can I feel it. And I'm like, cool, I'm good. I'm done. I would like to go to the surface now. Thank you.
It's been super nice visiting this habitat. I'm all the way good.
Yeah. I had the full moment of like, yeah, no, I am not an apex predator. I can't even swim fast down here. I got a whole goddamn tank and shit. And I'm a good swimmer. Would not be able to outrun nothing in this ocean.
And you know, gang, aren't we killing the coral reefs? Let's just stop coming down here. Just like period. Let's just save the ocean.
Just leave it be.
Just leave it alone, you know?
Yeah. like, no, we need to know what's at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. No, we don't.
Oh, God.
Leave Cthulhu alone.
One of the funnest facts I know about the ocean is that NASA originally was tasked with exploring the ocean. And then they were like,
space is easier.
After a while, they were like, we discovered some things about the ocean. The rest of this is classified. Let's move to space. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Which is so wild.
Yeah. What if we just don't do anything else down here?
Yeah.
As fast as possible. Get rocking.
They're like, we checked it. It's like when you go to tell your mom that you can't find something. You're like, I definitely looked for it. It's like we gave it a once over. There's nothing here. Don't worry about it.
Trust.
The highest paid
Meanwhile,
scientist on
there's
the
just
globe.
Cthulhu, like
just
down in the bucket.
It's like that fucking Subnautica shit when like once you get advanced enough to start going deep enough and you're like, cool, this is awesome. I'm like down up in these trenches, and you turn around and a goddamn kaiju is just chilling down here. You're like, cool.
Like, this is a different game now.
This is a different fucking game.
Remember we were just looking at
I got to see some gameplay of that shit, and like when the notification it gives you comes on, I was like watching and I was like, oh my God, this looks so good. I can't wait to like put this in my Steam library. And that notification happened. And I was like, oh, it's not chill. Okay, it's not chill.
It's not
chill. We're not doing that.
No.
We're not doing that.
Not chill. It's not chill at all.
But yeah, we can include all of these fears and more in your next campaign.
Your next game.
I know. Truly.
Underwater spider birds.
Underwater spider birds in groups in large formations spiraling.
To be honest,
giant pods.
there are spider like fish that look like and sea creatures that just are spiders that live in the ocean.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't fully trust spiders. Like, why do you live on every form of land and sea and space?
Arctic spider crabs, dude. Don't look those up. It's terrifying.
No.
Unreal.
My goodness. We are well over our time here, but this has been lovely. I love venting about our dramatic horror story.
This has been a lovely unhinged episode.
Good. I'm glad I could come on.
I love it.
And go through therapy with you all. This was
this was good therapy.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, we were going to talk about topics like railroading or sandbox creation. Well, creating campaigns. Nah, you're good.
No,
you're good.
No.
But yeah, you can take this and run with it 100%. I feel confident. I feel good.
Stay out of the forest at night. Don't feed birds.
Stay out of the forest at night.
Peanut butter crackers on a Holiday Inn balcony.
Yeah, leave the coral.
Stay away from the
October
ocean.
2024 to write your campaigns. You got plenty of time, gang.
Yeah.
Use all of it.
Don't climb ladders if you pass out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I could do step ladders, but like anything above that, it's over. It's game over.
You just gotta know your limits.
Yeah, that could be a puzzle, honestly.
Yeah.
The air is really thin in here, but you have to get up on this ladder. Roll a Constitution?
Yeah, I'm on the first step. Roll a Constitution.
You heard what I said.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been a blast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
You want to give us one more time where people can find you, and if you've got any like exciting projects or anything coming up, feel free to plug.
Yeah, you can find me at thatbigddenergy.com. Make sure you put the other D in there, otherwise you go to another website. I don't want to go there.
Truly, a typo will send you on a whole other internet adventure.
We thought about fixing it at one point, but we were just kind of like,
can't do it.
Nah, that's pretty funny.
You're committed to the bit.
It's pretty good branding.
Yeah, right. But you can find us at thatbigddenergy.com. You can listen to the podcast. You can find all of our socials there as well. Still continuing on with the nonprofit aspect of it, we are considering starting a podcast network dedicated to TTRPGs and mental health called the Constitution Save Podcast Network. So be on the lookout for some information with that, and we'll see you then.
That is very, very cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Table Talk is a podcast brought to you by Mythos Media Productions, bringing you a new episode every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Find us on Instagram and TikTok at Table Talk RPG, or check us out at our website,
mythosmediaproductions.godaddysites.com. All business inquiries can reach out to us via email at info@mythosmediaproductions.com.